Okay, so with this session now, we are not going to get deeper to the analysis of log framework in terms of projects. It is also important to appreciate the importance of logical framework in a project. Planners need to be aware that it is this logical framework that has been prepared during the planning session, and it is the one that needs to be evaluated. For project manager, he needs to take hold or to get hold of the logical framework very carefully. You must understand, you must know the content, you must know in terms of how it takes through planning process. There are planning process that will take you through when talking about logical framework. What you need to have at hand, you need to know the problem tree analysis. These are the source information to the logical framework. You need to, once the objective tree is known, I mean, the problem tree is known, then you can develop the objective tree analysis. And if this one also is known, then you can clearly develop the logical framework. But you should also understand it is important to involve stakeholders at each stage of logical framework. Stakeholders' involvement into logical framework is necessary. And the logical framework sometimes is known as log frame matrix. It's the same for project logical framework. So with this evening, we shall be talking much about logical framework. And as I said, we will not get deeper. Our assumption behind is during planning session, during project planning, these concepts have already discussed. But here, our focus is on the evaluation. Even though evaluation means you have to get back again, review the planning process. So you will have to review the logical framework matrix that has been prepared by the planners. So you as an evaluator, you will need to go through and evaluate accordingly. The logical framework, it started early during the years 1960s. It started in those years. When you read the books, you'll find that the logical framework started in USA by USAID. So it started in USA by the USAID company. They are the ones who developed this concept. And thereafter, the concept was taken over by European, especially in 1990s. During the 1990s, that is the time when the logical framework became famous and it became applicable to so many countries, including Norwegian, German, and others in Europe. And also, the same logical framework came into Africa during the same period. and many organizations started using it. And basically, it was part of the donor financing programs that it will be difficult for public organizations and other non-profit making organization to get funded if the logical framework is not developed fully. So during those years, people struggled very much to understand and learn about logical framework matrix. Now, with the logical framework, generally to provide summary of the whole project. To provide summary of the whole project, it is summarized into 4x4 matrix, and that's why they call it a matrix. It's summarized 4x4 matrix, and when you look at this, practically you have to summarize the whole project into those matrices. Now, what is a logical framework analysis? The logical framework analysis, what is that? Why it is so significant for us to start discussing at this time? We say the logical framework is a systematic planning procedures for complete project cycle management. It is a problem-solving approach which takes into account the views of all stakeholders. It agrees on the criteria for project success and list for the major assumptions. This is what it tells you about that. Now, with this logical framework, as the way we have said, it summarizes the whole project. It gives analysis about the project in details. It summarizes every component that are significant in the project, including your budget, your inputs in terms of your activities, and everything. So you'll have some aspects for project goals. You see, you will have some aspects for project objectives, output, and activities. Those are 4 items that are very important when you are talking about logical framework. So you will have those ones, you will develop, but the way you develop this one, you must involve stakeholders. Stakeholders involvement is one of the criteria when you are talking about logical framework. Now, as I said, the history, yes, I have already explained it a little bit. Why? Because it was developed because there was some kind of poor planning processes for so many projects, and the people could not be able to coordinate all the plans properly. Then it resulted the USAID to develop the logical framework during the 1960s. Then NORAD, they made significant contribution, especially in 1990, when they developed their own books on a logical framework. Then it was spread out throughout Europe, Asia, and other countries, including Africa. That was the time we started using in our planning process. All this is just about to coordinate all the plans. So what are the key functions of the logical framework? You should know the logical framework is a tool for planning a logical set of intervention, is a tool for appraising a program documents. So you can use to appraise the program documents. Is a conscious summary of the program. It summarizes the whole project into 4x4 matrix. Is a tool for monitoring progress made with regards to delivery of output and activities. If you can see there. So we say is a tool for evaluating impact of program output, that is progress in achieving purposes. So that is, those are the functions. Those are the functions that when we talk about log framework, that is one of the consideration. Now, what are the key features? As I said earlier, is that with the logical framework, one of the key features, you must involve stakeholders. So you will have the direct stakeholders, you will have the indirect stakeholders. All these must be involved in your project. And the key elements for this one, it must be participatory. So people, all types of people with stakes in the project must be involved in one way or another in terms of developing the logical framework. It is a need-based approach. It is a logical intervention approach. It's a framework for assessing relevancy, feasibility, and sustainability. So these are things. It is results-oriented, not activity-driven. It's results-oriented. So you can use it during monitoring and evaluation to evaluate. It's about logical sets, objectives, and their causal relationship. Shows whether objectives have been achieved in terms of indicators for monitoring and evaluation. And also it describes external factors that influence the project's success in terms of assumptions and risks. So when you are developing this one, you will have some other consideration. The key steps for this one, make sure you have developed a stakeholders analysis properly, and you have done the so-called, you are done with the SWOT analysis. You are done with the SWOT analysis. You are done with the problem tree analysis. You are done with the objective tree analysis. Then you can develop the logical framework matrix. Now, once all those are done, then it is where you can do the monitoring and evaluation properly. You can do the monitoring and the evaluation. Looking at the window right there, what we have, these are columns. So we have this one, narrative summary, and we have verifiable indicators, and we have means of verification. We also have important assumptions. Now, when you see at that one, we have where we have the narrative summary for logical framework, where you shall have those key elements. The goal, project goal, you need to write there. What is the project goals? So you will pick up in your analysis, in your plans. If you are developing during monitoring and evaluation, it means you are reviewing the plans. Now it is important you write it there. And the goal must be SMART. We don't need to repeat what we said about the goal. This is the end result, but again, it must be SMART. The purpose or the objectives. In terms of purpose or objectives, you have to put those SMART objectives. But remember, we said purposes, the purpose or the objectives are based from the problem tree analysis. And once you have determined properly the problem tree analysis, you can easily develop the purpose. We don't need to discuss this one. Refer the other sessions where we discuss about the problem tree and also objective tree. In terms of output, these are end results. these are fruits. These are ends. That's fruits. In terms of fruits, what are the key issues at the end of the day? For example, if you're constructing schools, the classes, 13 classes will be constructed. So the output is 13. So you'll have to make sure you put it there under as output. And remember, a project can have 1, 2, 3, 4 output. You may not have so many output with this one. And then we shall have activities. This is for the narrative summary. Now, in terms of verifiable indicators, we needed to ask yourself, if you have stated the goals here, let me point it clearly with a painter. Now, let me get the painter right here for the assistance. Let me take this one. Maybe right here. If you have developed your goal clearly here. Now, what does it mean? Is this you will have to develop verifiable indicators. Let me select another pointer. Let me get another pointer. Let me erase. So when I'm erasing this one, to make it useful, let me turn it back and get another thing right here. Let me go to the point option. Okay. Let me get that pen right here. So when you are writing the goals in terms of narratives, this you'll get it from the project. So you will write right here. You write right here the statement for your goal. You'll put it there. And remember, we said it must be smart, but again, for verifiable indicators, how are we going to verify? This is verifiable, which indicator we think when this goal is stated that we are going to verify, this one has been attained. Now, you will need to state verifiable indicators. So maybe just remember, you will use the word number of, okay? Number of something, you see, based on the stated goals. So you will have to discover the verifiable indicators. And the means of verification, this is how are we going to make sure we have verifiable indicators verified. So that is the means of verification. And this is very much related with your reports. Where are you going to get this report? Here. Where are you going to get this report? Here. And this report must be related with these verifiable indicators, okay? Verifiable indicators. Why? Because if you say improve the standard of living through maybe improved income, so, or per capita income, so it means that can be your goals. In here, you will have your per capita income. Is it measured? Per capita income is per capita income, okay, or percentage, or what? You will have to decide and put it there as Are you going to use mortality rate? Are you going to use what? So depending on how you stated in the goal. And then you will have the means of verification. How are you going to verify that one? If it is per capita income, how are you going to verify? Of course, you verify it through national statistics, through members of parliament, development reports, district reports, regional reports, any other annual reports, auditing report. You can verify that one. That can be the means of verification. So manager must make sure that all the documentation appear there. At the end of the day, you have statistics and analysis being supported in your documentation during planning. And we have the important assumptions. With these important assumptions, these are risks. These are risks. Sometimes we call it, these are what? Risk. Let me write here. This is what? Risk. Risk. Everybody, can you see that one? Okay, 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 okay. So it is about risky. It is about risky. So assumptions, important assumptions, it means you have to state risky. Now, if it is risky, you have to itemize, right, in terms of your bullets, timely funding, delay funding, what. Those are, etc., etc., etc. Those are the risks that you'll find yourself having it in here. Now, if you know you have any type of risk that is going to affect your goal, you will have to put it here. You'll have to put it here so that it becomes easier for you to find out in your mitigation, how are you going to deal with those risks? So you'll have to explain. But in here, you summarize on important assumptions. Now, when it comes to purpose, remember, this one is what is happening at national level. So you will have at national level, it's when you're talking of goal, this is the end results of the project. So it's so huge. So, but when you talk of objective or purpose, objective or purpose, you can have 5, you can have 4, you can have 6 purposes or purpose or the objectives. So you will have to state them here. But remember, the way they are stated, just like the way we discussed in the class, they must be smart. They must be smart. This is what is happening. Verifiable indicators, you consider what will be happening at the level of the project. You see, what will be happening at the level of the project. And we have also the means of verifications. You verify the indicators. Remember, this is at the project level. So you will have to verify through different reports that will be generated in the project. One of them is progress reports, monitoring reports, evaluation reports, and so on, and so on, and so on. So you will have so many that at the end of the day, as a manager, you will have to include that one in your analysis and so on. What are the assumptions that you will face at the project level? You need to put it there. Similarly, when you go to output, the output is written there, but at the same time, the output, you can have 1, you can have 2, you can have 3, you can have 4, depending on the size of the project, but you pick those ones. The output must be quantifiable. Output must be quantifiable so that you can develop your verifiable indicators very easily, and you can have the means of verifications as well, important assumptions, and so on. So you will do the same. And in terms of activities, in terms of activities, you take the inputs, you put it there. What are the inputs related to these activities? So you pick the main activities. You write main activities. Once you are done with those ones, now you have the verifiable indicators, you have the means of verifications, and also you have important assumptions and so on. Those assumptions that are very much related with the project, you will have to put them there. You will have to put them there. So these are things that we find when you are talking about logical framework, you will have. Now, how do we use it during monitoring and evaluation? I think that is the most important thing. Remember, during planning, we started developing by looking at the goal. So you develop during planning. Let me lab these ones so that we can go and get a fresh. Let me get eraser. So with this one, you just click this one, you get it out. The same about this one right here. You are done. This is how we do about stuff. You know, that's the good thing about technology. This is your blackboard, so you can clean it. You can clear everything that you want to clear. You see, anyway, for me, because I'm not going to save this work, let me say that is enough. So what you will see, you will see in here, let me get a point again. Pointer, yes. What you will see during planning, in here, let me get this one. We get a pen. During planning, we started from narrative summary, goal, we plan all the way this direction to risks, is it? That is what we did during planning. Now, we also developed the objective like that during planning, okay? Now, and so on and so on. This is how you will do during planning. So you'll find the common stuff that you have been doing right here. Let me get erase again so that we lab this one. We develop something else for easy understanding regarding monitoring and evaluation. So what you will observe is this. Let me get a point again, eraser. Let me get a pen, okay? Let me get a pen again. Now, during monitoring and evaluation, we say, if inputs are provided, we start from down, we go all the way up like that, up like that, and then like that. Then we have attained our goal. So we will ask ourselves, we will say, if inputs are provided, then activities will be performed. And if activities has been performed, we will attain that output. If you have attained the output, then it means you have attained your objective. If your objective or purpose has been attained, it means the goal has been attained. So with the monitoring, we start from the inputs. We start from down. You start from down here. This is where you do monitoring and evaluation, or you monitor your project, you will have the progress reports, you will have the payment vouchers, you will have your expenditures. If money has been provided, if inputs has been provided, then that activity will be performed. Then if that activity has been performed, then we say output will be attained. Then at the end of the day, you will realize if output has been performed, has been attained, then it means the purpose has been attained. And if the purpose has been attained, then it means if purpose has been attained, the goal has been attained. So we are just like that. From monitoring and evaluation, we start from down, we go all the way to the top. But for the so-called planning, you start from the top, we go all the way down. This is how you will develop your logical framework. As I said, with this session, it means it's not, we are making assumption that this is not new to you. So you will have some kind of logical framework, understanding by yourself in terms of verifiable indicators. What are the quantitative ways of measuring or qualitative ways of judging whether these broad objectives are being achieved? You see, means of verification, what sources of information exist or can be provided with a cost effectively in terms of attaining your indicators, assumptions, what are the risks, and so on. You will have these questions asking yourself. Now, as I said, I will have a very short presentation for today, and we will continue again next time in terms of discussing another lecture that we will have. Let me say this. You can have the assignment, you can do it by yourself, but for public entities, for them to have the logical framework, it is important. And for non-profit making, if you are using donor-funded project, then you'll find yourself logical framework is one of the conditional criteria for you to use during planning. And if it is for business-oriented, some business community, they have started using this one in their planning session to make sure that now they can use the logical framework, but it might not be necessary, but it is important for the public sector. It is important for non-profit making activities. For public organization, yes, it is important to have that one. And you'll find the pages when you are writing the logical framework. Can take you about yes, around 12 pages and above, 12 pages and above, depending on what type of project is that one. If it is more complicated, you'll have more pages, but the standard is minimum level is about 12 pages. You'll find yourself having that one. So let me stop here for today. We meet again next time for another session to keep on discussing about the logical framework for the project and how we can use it during monitoring and evaluation. Okay.